Hello, I'm Robin Thomas, and I'm the founder of Living Well Connections. I help individuals stop feeling powerless about their health by guiding them through ways to get started with healthy habits without becoming overwhelmed. I founded Living Well Connections as a community to support, educate, and empower us all to make healthy decisions toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to one of our members, Vickie Griffith. Vickie, I said Vickie. Vickie, sorry about that, eliminates self-sabotage. I know, this is life. Unfortunately, a huge roadblock that prevents you from thriving is what's going on between your ears. Negative thoughts and beliefs are impacting your actions to thrive at work, slim down, or grow the business of your dreams. Vickie loves sharing simple steps that create powerful shifts. She helps her clients stop struggling and settling just to get by. I love Vickie because of her infectious enthusiasm. She's just so easy to talk with. She also travels throughout the country offering keynotes, coaching, and workshops. Welcome, Vickie. It's so great to see you today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored.
Well, this is going to be fun because I just always love chatting with you. And I know that our listeners are going to love you too.
I think part of it is that we're on the same page. It's healthy habits without overwhelm, because that's what happens the moment we decide to change any habit, regardless if it's around weight release or it's career development or a change in something that will be healthier in the long run. And then there's so much information out there. Overwhelm becomes the next step.
Oh man, yes, absolutely. Especially when, well, in both business and losing weight, you just absolutely get overwhelmed with all the information that's coming up from all directions. So yeah, I like to have people find out what is most meaningful for them to start with and start from there and go slowly.
I absolutely agree with you. And that's why I focus on weight release. Notice I'm not saying weight loss, because your brain goes a little funky when it hears, especially your mind, if it hears loss. Think about what happens when you lose your cell phone. You panic.
Find it. So your body will we got to find it. We don't want to lose it. Okay, let's find it again.
Exactly. So we don't want to say weight loss, because then the mind and body will go, okay, well, let's find it, because we're panicking. So we release weight, but it's the same type of thing in all areas of our life. And you know this, that's why it's without overwhelm. Any change, no matter how big or how small, the brain wants to shut it down because it's not safe. The mind goes, oh yeah, it's not safe, is it? And so that's where a lot of sabotage happens. And then we get frustrated because it's not working out the way we think it should. And it becomes this spiral, downward spiral of on again, off again a diet, or buying another tactic for your business, when in reality, what you really need is a strategy, a simple day-to-day plan. So yeah, it's overwhelm happens, and it happens easily, especially in an emotional state.
Absolutely. And you talk about that downward spiral. You just become defeated. It's like, and then you start going, I can't, nothing works.
Exactly.
You find so many different things.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have a powerful personal story on why you're into this, because I think every single wellness practitioner I've spoken to has a personal story. Can you tell us a little bit more of why and when you started your business?
Well, the when starts way back when I was a child. I was always chubby. I wore Huskies when I was in junior high. I actually had to wear boys' Husky pants because I was that overweight. So there was something wrong with me, and I wasn't sure until about the age of 10 what was wrong with me. Then it developed into really rigid food plans, seeing our actual family doctor and giving me speed for an appetite suppressant that didn't last long, because being a reserved, shy withdrawn child, I'm sure whatever it did to me drove my mom insane. So that didn't last long. I did have some successes, and then I would falter back to the old habits. It was after I had our son that I got on the scales, just delivered a 10-pound baby the day before, and I was at the heaviest weight I had ever been. And I thought I should have lost at least 60 pounds. What's wrong with me? And the feeling of, like you said, defeat. I mean, I know it was a myth, and I know that it was all made up in my mind. And I was hoping and desperately hoping that I would lose 60 pounds or let go 60 pounds after his birth, but I didn't. And actually, several years after that, I struggled with more rigid food plans, more drop dead workouts. This is going to be my answer. I always put my solution into the diet. And then one day I had had enough, because when I put my solution into the diet, then what happened is when I was off the diet, judgment, criticism, shame, embarrassment, guilt, I mean, all those things would just riddle me. And I've been bullied my life for being fat, but I'm the worst bully ever. And so finally, I just said, enough dieting. If I really want to be successful with this, it's enough dieting. It was at one moment, and sometimes we do have a moment where it just turns everything around, or at least we start getting some insight. Sometimes it's over a period of years. And for me, it was both. It was a period of years, and then that moment was said, okay, I'm done dieting. Well, what am I going to do instead? And
I hate the word you were saying, this done dieting. I hate that word diet.
I do too.
I hate that word. You know what's in that word?
Yeah, it says die. Yeah, I agree. And here's the reality of the word diet. The definition, the true definition for the word diet is a lifestyle. But that's not how we as Americans interpret it, and how people in other countries are beginning to interpret it, because they've adopted our food plans. So diet is dying, it's deprivation the entire time. Even if you love healthy foods, there's that place of deprivation. And that's how I felt. I always felt deprived. I was eating fast food every single day when I made this decision to stop dieting. I knew I didn't want to stop that, because it was something at that time that nurtured me emotionally and mentally. And I do believe we need to feel satisfied by the food that we're eating. So I knew I wasn't going to stop that. It's like, well, how do I let go of weight if I'm not changing that habit? So I started cutting my portions. And a lot of times, what's so funny and interesting about anyone who's been on any type of eating programs in the past, when I say cutting down food portions, they don't hear that part, because we're so conditioned to follow the regimen, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I started cutting my portions. I would order kids' meals. I would order, small portions. I would get the same satisfaction with a smaller amount. I also decided that I had been studying hypnosis and self-hypnosis since I was 16. So I was going to use the power of the mind, because I know how powerful the mind can be. And I was going to stop judging myself. So that was a mental diet. I stopped judging myself when I stopped getting on the scale. But I stopped judging around the foods that I was eating. I stopped judging around my body. I stopped all of that judgment and criticism. And I just said no to it, which the first couple of days was exhausting. I had no idea how much I was thinking that way. This self-hypnosis recording that I made started making it safe for me for the smaller portions. And eventually, well, here's what happened with the self-hypnosis that I did. And I also did capping, and I talk about that another time. But the self-hypnosis recording I made, I walked into a Wendy's, and I'll never forget this. Walked into the Wendy's expecting to order, planning to order, and anticipating to order my junior cheeseburger deluxe, a small fry, and a Diet Coke. That was my typical Wendy's meal. When the cashier asked me how she could help me, I said, I'll have the grilled chicken salad. And I literally looked behind me. I thought someone else just ordered. I had no idea. I couldn't believe that came out of me, because I was so into the nurturing of fast food. And as she's ringing it up and I'm getting the money out of my wallet and I'm looking at the picture of the grilled chicken salad, I realized that's what my body wanted. For the first time ever, I was listening to my body rather than to my mind, and it was overriding my choices. And you know what? For the first time, I really enjoyed that salad. In the past, I would have gotten it because I had to. It was on the diet.
Yeah, it was a task then,
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
looking at it and, oh,
Yeah,
that looks good and it tastes good.
yeah, exactly. And so that's when those small things started happening with the shifts that I was making that seemed kind of easy.
Mhm.
I never had read anything about it before. Then I started realizing I was on to something. I have released 70 pounds. I've kept it off now for 20 years. I still use the same techniques every day. I still use them.
But I can see, and I've known hypnosis before, and I've seen so many different things it can help with. It can help with PTSD. It can help with anxiety issues. It can help with so many things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's fascinating and amazing, and our minds are very, very powerful. We're just not trained how to make them more powerful for what we desire rather than old habits or circumstances, reacting to our circumstances out of habit. And it's sometimes so easy and subtle. I've had to actually remind clients that just 2 weeks ago, they were saying and doing the exact opposite that they shared with me, which was no big deal, like choosing tuna over, roast beef sandwich, or and there's nothing wrong with roast beef sandwiches, depending on what you feel and believe. But for her, that was a big shift. I had one client who had shared with me 2 weeks prior that she and her husband had 3 food pantries and 2 deep freezers in their house. It came from, she needed food around her all the time, and it came from being a child and not having a lot of food in the family. So there was a scarcity, and so it made her feel safe. And through hypnosis, 2 weeks later, I'm like, so what's happened? Let's celebrate. What's going on? I always ask my clients, what are we celebrating? Because celebrations are hard for us to pay attention to when we're always looking at our faults and failures. She goes, oh, nothing, nothing. And I'm like, well, what have you been doing? Well, I spent last Saturday cleaning out one of the food pantries, and I actually cleaned out one of the deep freezers. And she said it matter of fact, like it was just a regular. And I'm like, did you just hear what you said? And he's like, no, what did I say? I had to remind her 2 weeks prior
That there was no way she was going to get rid of,
No, she would have never done that. She would have, if I gave her that task, she would have resented it. She would have resented me. She would have found it difficult. She may have procrastinated, not even done it at all. So yeah, it's our minds are very, very powerful.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, tell me, you're mentioning a couple of your clients. I want to know a little bit more of how you work with your clients and how you help them. What are some of the results that they get from working with you, and also what can they expect when they first contact you and want to work with you?
Oh, it's horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I drag them through the.
I knowing you yell at them and fuss at them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, it's nothing like that. So when someone first contacts me, what I'm trying to do is find out what might be the source. Where is this all coming from? And like we talked about, it doesn't matter if it's weight loss or in their business. Truthfully, a lot of my clients are both. So money and weight have a lot to do with each other, where it's in their career or their business. So someone who's struggling in their business or wants to advance in their career, maybe having trouble finding a new position, and their weight is kind of the grounding piece of it, the solid piece of it. And so it's really interesting how we hold on to weight as we have a struggling business or trying to get into a position. So they both have a lot in common. So that's what I'm trying to find, is where's the common denominator, what belief system, what past experience. And it could be one, it could be a lifetime of experiences. And a lot of times on the first call, we're not getting there, because just like for you, if people come to contact you, they know about you, but they're not sure they should trust you. And that's a very valid reason for someone to be a little more guarded. And I understand that and I get that. So it's really a conversation. Where are you? What do you want differently? What do you think might be standing in your way? So that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And then we decide if they want to work with me further, then I'll explain to them how they can do that. So that's kind of the first. What happens over a period of time is I show them many, many, many techniques, not just food programs, because as I said, everything and everyone is different. There's not one right way. And what I also understand, because our minds are so powerful, that if you truly believe, and Wayne Dyer said this, if you truly believe you could eat 5 fudge sundaes every single day and lose weight, you could.
Wow.
We don't. We believe we have to eat, greens, and we have to. And is there anything? No, they're amazing healthy foods to eat out there, but our belief system is what's causing the friction
Right.
and the sabotage. So we're going to start. I'm going to say massaging the belief system in a very safe way through self-hypnosis recordings that I create for my clients. And they listen to that at night, hence while they're falling asleep. And there is one networking meeting in Richmond, Virginia that I was a president of. And one of my clients, which I never shared who was my client, and that stood up one day at lunch and said, I want y'all to know I sleep with Vickie every night. And then someone at the next table stood up, and I sleep with Vickie too. And people were like, well, how do I get to sleep with Vickie? It's really funny. It was so funny for me to experience that. And about 80% of the room had been a client of mine in some capacity or another, and nobody knew that. Sleeping with me, right? Or wanted to know how. And why I make the recordings, again, just like you, I'm creating very simple steps, so easy. So you put the recording, who doesn't have their phone next to their bed anymore, right? So you put the recording on your phone, you hit play, and you let it loop until you wake up enough to turn it off. And that's it. And then all of a sudden your behaviors and your thoughts start changing very subtly and safely that you don't even be aware.
See,
like that.
That way, I love this, because that way, otherwise, if you came full front, and some people talk about changing mindset, and then you kind of force yourself, with affirmations. Well, affirmations can be great, but this forcing yourself is not great, because your body, your mind is going to fight. If it's like, oh, wait, that's my belief. That's how I believe. Right. Therefore, I have to reject anything else. And I think, and your way is gently reminding yourself that, hey, yeah, that's wonderful. I love
and how
that.
we reprogram the subconscious mind is through repetition. So the more someone listens to it, and it's what's really fascinating about what you just said is that clients will listen to the same recording for several months in a row and then say to me, well, when did you put that sentence in the recording? I'm like, it's been there for 3 months, but it was safe enough to hear it and take action on it. So I
have to tell you something, because you asked me about my son and how he was doing, and he is doing a lot better, but he has been spending probably maybe 3 months now listening to a hypnosis recording.
Awesome.
And it takes, it's not something that happens you don't wake up the next day and like, I'm a new person. It's a gradual, like you said, gentle, gradual approach that works.
And I actually have seen people change overnight, so it is possible.
It is possible.
Part of it is, again, just like you said, how safe is it for them to change that aspect? And usually it's not a humongous, like you said, totally change different person. It's a small aspect that has changed pretty quickly. And so that can happen. But yeah, it is usually very gradual. And that's because your mind's getting used to the new idea. Mm-hmm. And then it takes a while for the body to react.
That's great.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So what else can clients expect from you? Or what other results have they seen?
Well, here's a result that just happened recently for one of my clients, a very traumatic phone call that triggered an event back in her past. So it triggered some, and these are her words, not mine, post-traumatic stress. So instead of turning to food and alcohol, which was her past routine, anytime she's stressed, I was so proud of her She took several of my techniques, took a walk in the parking lot for about 15 minutes, got her mind and body calm, and went back to work. No binging, no drinking after she got home from work, nothing in the past that she would have done to cope. She was able to cope. And she, again, this is so, it happens so subtly. She made a choice and she didn't even realize she was making a choice. And her choice was, I need to get out of into the parking lot from work. I need to get away from my desk. I'm going to go to the parking lot. I'm going to walk. I'm going to do some of these techniques. And within 15 minutes, she was better. Maybe not fine, but she was better. And the most important thing is she didn't go back to her old way of coping.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. This is just great. I think I already know the answer to this question. Is like, what's your favorite part of your business? Because hearing you speak and hearing how you have helped people transform their lives, it just sounds so rewarding.
It is, and that's the purpose of what I do. When you're in business, there's a lot of things we have to do, and you know this too, anyone else that's listening in business, that are not a whole lot of fun. But in order to run our business and grow our business, we have to do it. My favorite is working with my clients, being in that place of being intuitive and getting messages from my clients that are not woo-woo or I just kind of have a knowing sometimes of, we'll say this, and I say that, and they're like, how did you know? Like, oh, I don't have any clue. I'm just sitting here talking with you. So that's rewarding. Seeing them make shifts and changes, reminding them that they're making them, because we are, like I said, we're so used and programmed to finding the fault. And part of that's written in our DNA. That's how we survived, is to find what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. So we could always be protected, run or fight, whatever we need to do. So having a higher intelligence that we do, we can now look at what are we celebrating. And for her, that was a huge celebration, that she was just kind of like, well, this is what I did. And I had to remind her, oh no, that was what you did. But the shift that happened so gracefully for you to do that instead of was amazing.
We should all start our day with, what are we celebrating today?
I agree with that. Absolutely agree.
Oh, Vickie, this has been so much fun, and I've learned so much from you today. How can our listeners reach you? What is the best way for them to reach you and be able to speak with you?
If you go to crushcravings.com and sign up for the Crush Craving video download. Not all of you have an issue with food or alcohol, but if you do, this series will actually show you one of the techniques I use with my clients to reduce the cravings that you're experiencing. However, you can also reach me through signing up for that list, and it will show you how to get in touch with me. So crushcravings.com.
That's wonderful. That's easy. And I will be posting that link below this video, so it'll be a one-click, very easy for everyone. Well, thank you so much. And this has been, I'm so happy to have you part of the Living Well Connections community, because we all do support each other in what we're doing. It's a mix of practitioners and people just interested in wellness.
Right.
And if anyone here listening is interested in joining the community, I have a gift for you. Go to livingwellconnections.info and you'll receive my free ebook, 5 Ways to Get Started with Healthy Habits Without Getting Overwhelmed. So I think we make a great team, Vickie.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I'm going to go download that. I want to see what you have to say.
Lovely. Take care. And I look forward to the next time that I bring a speaker to just learn and grow and support each other. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.